Hello and welcome to I'm going to become half an Ironman. You've reached the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Obviously, you've probably seen me promote this on Instagram or other social media or whatever. We're basically going to be going through 10 to 15 minutes week by week of me becoming half an Ironman, telling some stories, what's going on through my week in terms of my training. Hopefully you're going to take away some stuff as well. It can be vaguely entertaining, but we can kind of give a little justification. So what's happening, how I'm progressing stuff, what you might learn some stuff as we go through this ridiculously long journey to turn me into some sort of cardio machine. I never thought I'd hear the day of that. Absolutely not. So, which is insane. All right. So, further ado, thanks for stopping by. We're going to be going through this wonderful thing. Okay. So, in summary, what we're going to be going through is my shoe situation, and then we'll talk about why I'm wearing it, and then the 2 runs, the bike, the swim, the gym sessions that I'm doing, and on how to go about some certain things. Okay, so in terms of what my whole week will look like. Okay, so first of all, I think we have to touch base on shoes are an insane part of this. Okay, especially because of running, and I haven't been running for an incredibly long time. So even though the preparation for stuff is quite similar, but as you can see on the screen right now, I went and got my gait kind of looked at. Okay, so this was interesting to say the least, I think. So let's view this for me, shall we? So I went along to Sports Direct, and then I went to Nike, and then I went to do some other stuff, just to look at my gait to be looked at, and more of my feet to get measured, which is this cool graphic from Safe Size. I think you can go into your local Sports Direct and do this. It gave me like girth, width, length, what my arch type was, height, and it told me like what was good for my foot in terms of shoe size. Apparently I'm a 10.7. So it recommended 11, but like every single sports shoe I've ever owned always comes up small. So I went 10.5. Or I thought 11 was punching, like a little bit too big for me. So I was like 10.5 seems, we'll round down. If not, I'll send them back and I'm gonna cry and then like postpone the week of my training, because everything had to be perfect, right? But as you can see, everybody's feet are slightly different in terms of like my width, 1 millimeter difference, fairly fine. Flat arch, I knew that. Kind of a difference in height, 1 millimeter. Girth, because everybody was wondering about my girth size, and in kind of length was 3 millimeters, and then the girth was quite a big difference, I thought, which was interesting in terms of height. But I don't know, that it's kind of musculature on my right side. I probably use that for football a lot more, so over the course of time it's probably got a little bit more musculature, and like jumping, I'd jump off that leg, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's fairly interesting. So a roundabout way, I just went with the thing that was recommended to me. I didn't go into too much knowledge and gait and stuff, because we haven't got the time to do that on this show. Okay, that's going to be the interesting part. But I went for these. My Nike Zoom X. I think they're the flies, right? The streak flies, which are pretty cool. They're light as hell. I would recommend. They're basically for people who want to do 5 to 10k, and that's all my training is going to be from probably this. I don't know, especially for the first 3 to 6 months, give or take. I'm probably going to max out at 10Ks because I've got a long road to go down, and then I'll only be doing triathlons probably in a certain thing before I do my half Ironman stuff, maybe a full. And then that'll be the case. So I only really need a shoe that's going to be taking me that far. So that's why I went for that. And 5Ks is probably the minimum thing I'm going to be running. Less on speed days and stuff like that. Okay, so that's why I went there. And also, unofficially, I put a very tongue-in-cheek comment out. I'm sponsored by Compete. I'm not. They just sent me a gift. So I've got all the Compete that you can imagine. A nice little, team compy now. It's pretty good, isn't it? Anyway, we'll jump into actually my training. So as you can see, my week it started off with a swim. I believe it was swim, run, train. I'm gonna say lift, or swim, run, bike, train. It's normally then I'm going to run and then train again. Okay, so there was 2 training sessions, lifting sessions, essentially S&C work. There was 2 runs, 1 bike, and 1 swim. The swim was a 1.4k. So we'll start there in terms of what was happening. So this was just split into, basically I did, it was 200 meters at a time. And as you can see by the graph, I was kind of playing it by ear. It wasn't as consistent. You'll see I'm already got the process of I've done day 1 of my swim for next week, and it is a lot different in terms of graph from this one, okay? Which is interesting. I spent 21% in the max heart, 5 minutes less than I normally would. So I'd done a kind of competing swim-ish like the week before, kind of a prelim, making sure I can move more than anything else and not get injured. So I found this pretty interesting in terms of how I was setting up. I was just going 200 meters at a time, and then I was kind of guesstimating my rest times because I didn't have my watch with me. All I had was my Whoop, which is where this data is coming from, okay? And I want to round about being like zone, end of the day, I want all of this stuff to be in zone 2, really. Zone 2, zone 3 work. I'm probably pushing into zone 4 for a little bit. So I wasn't too fussed with this data. I think it was pretty good, and it's a great starting point. One, you'll see a little bit of a change will be next week on that kind of data, okay? Which will be fantastic, I'm sure. Okay, so as we move through there, we're going to be going into the run I did on Monday. Okay, so I am not a long distance runner in any kind of imagination. Okay, so hence why my heart rate was gradually rising and rising and rising. I also went a route I didn't really know. I knew, but I didn't know the gradient. So for me, that was interesting as well. But it was more about just getting comfortable. And this was the second 5k I did. Stupidly, I did it like the first time was in like 30-degree heat. Not good as your first 5k. It was slow. And then I had my new shoes, put my new shoes on, 7 minutes better. Oh my God. Not 7 minutes, like 2 minutes better. But that was phenomenal, I thought. In terms of the shoe, 100% makes a difference. Absolutely so. The amount of lightness and stuff that was on my feet was incredible. And basically, I want to be hitting more of a zone 4 run. So I'm expecting this 90% stuff to start to trickle down. I will be surprised. And obviously, I after this kind of point, you can see where it dramatically drops. I was just walking home because I didn't gauge this very well where I was going to end up. I was a little bit too far away from home because I didn't know the distance, basically, and what it was going in my ear. Pretty stupid, I realise that now, but it's all right. It gave me enough time for my heart rate to come back down to kind of level, which is going to get better over time as well, okay? So ideally, over time, we want zone 3, zone 4 work, not as much the zone 5 of the run. I just think mechanically, it's going to be a bit tough for me, okay? All right, and then the functional fitness. I will try and make an effort to put this through the strength trainer portion of Whoop going forward, instead of what you've noticed is the functional fitness, which is only tracking heart rate, because I'm not concerned about heart rate whatsoever when I'm doing my strength and conditioning training. As you can see, it barely fucking moved. So that's going to be an interesting portion to this. So Mason, and I'm going to go into more depth in terms of through the weeks of what I'm doing in these S&C sessions, but it's definitely, I'm doing a little bit of upper body, but not majorly. A lot of it is like geared towards lower body and kind of being able to put my foot contacts as quick as possible and recycling energy. So big bits on tendon health, lots of recycling in terms of the stretch reflex, being able to handle a bit of resilience, and those are going to be the main things, and building some just good round like general strength. Okay, I'm not going to neglect lateral motion, I'm not going to neglect power. I'm going to be kind of hitting on all encompassing kind of bang for buck sessions more than anything else. And probably the upper body work I'm only really going to do is probably 2 pulls and 2 pushes throughout in each session. So it's going to be pull-ups, it's going to be dumbbell rows, it's going to be or scarecrow flyers or something like that, to help with everything towards swimming, because obviously I'm probably using my lats quite a lot there. And then pushes then be like stuff like press ups, overhead presses, single arm presses, stuff like that. Landmine work's gonna be my friend, okay? Because weirdly, I'm gonna have to do a lot of overhead work, which I'm not good at, okay? Spin. I will be doing most of my training on a watt bike, I'm not gonna lie, because that is gonna be the case of being in a gym, in a kind of environment. I'm able to track the data better, because there's less stuff going on. Obviously, I will be going for bigger rides, but this was inside here, okay? So this was a preparation for a normal Olympic triathlon thing. So this is a full hour of training, as you can pretty much see there. So boom, boom, just over. And it was a case of it trying to be in zones, in wattage zones. I was actually staying at about 30 to 35 kilometers an hour throughout the whole time of this, okay? 3-minute bouts up and then 1-minute bout down. Did that for 2 20-minute blocks with a little bit of a ramp and a cool down and stuff like that, okay? Which roughly worked out about 35 kilometers, give or take. 30 to 35 kilometers will be the baseline of this month. And that's what I'm going to repeat doing. Okay, so ideally, actually pretty okay with the zone 4 effort there. That's kind of where I'd perceive to be, because that was mainly my FTP, and should be able to stay in zone 4 for like a ridiculous amount of time apparently. But I would say interspersed into that, like 1 to 3, 1 to 4 hours, I'd be able to stay in and out of zone 4. Okay, so I felt like I had more in the tank there. I felt like I could have gone more, which is good, which is really good. Okay, so I'm happy with that. But that was definitely the most calorie burn I did on the other ones. And then you can see this run was compared to this one was a little bit different, right? In terms of zone 5 efforts, barely anything. Okay, my body was definitely acclimatizing a lot more already, straight away, more than anything else. There was a little bit of waiting around, I believe, during this effort. I'm not too sure. And it was a case of my heart rate did shallow out slightly at the front because I went a route with a traffic light. But already my CV system is having a little bit of an effect, and I didn't touch zone 5 only for 30 seconds, which is phenomenal for me. Okay, and it is gradually coming down, spending the most. So yeah, it spent 30 minutes, 80 to 90%, 3 minutes more, but like compared to the zone 5 effort, it was actually about 7 minutes less in my zone 5. Okay, so you can see my CV system is starting to interact even after 2-3 weeks. Okay, that's how big that is. That's huge. Okay, and then I did another lifting session. Okay, as you can see, I got kind of sidetracked in one of them, so slightly annoying there, but it's all right. It's we live and learn. Again, it's a lot of plyometric work, a little bit of S&C, a little bit of strength-based work. One of them is going to be hinge-based and like a lot of unilateral basically work, pause squats, split squats, rear foot elevated stuff, not really maxing out, probably trusting my 80% work most of the time. Okay, so that's what we're going to be going on. Obviously, I'm going to be wearing my beautiful kicks the whole time. But over the weeks, we're going to be going through and changing and kind of looking at the data as it transpires. Even through there, you saw 2 different runs that you can see what the changes are as I acclimatize to that. Okay, and my CV system gets better. So all in all, there was I don't know whether I said, yeah, I definitely did say a 1.4k swim with lots of interspersed. That was a little bit more speed and kind of endurance work because I'm not at the capacity to swim for that long yet. Also, I'm starting to learn to go breathe to this side, which isn't fantastic. The 2 runs were just 2 5Ks with a little bit of a walkout at the end. The bike was 30 to 35K over 1 hour. And the gym sessions were they're written by my coach. Okay. But we're interspersed of doing different things. Amazing. Right, we'll go into equipment, we'll go into all this other stuff. Obviously, if you've got any questions, drop them down below or go to Instagram or do whatever. Okay, if you think anybody else wants to share this kind of weird journey that we're doing, and we're going to be going through some other stuff on the channel as well, okay, with training for other different sports, because currently if I'm looking at my thing, all of my clients are up there. Okay, we've got loads of different kind of sports that I train people for, including we've got footballers, we've got ice skaters, we've got cricketers, we've got other people, Jesus, and then we've got tennis players, all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, BJJ guys, so yeah, there's quite a few up there, and 80% of them personal trainers, so you might be able to learn a little thing as we go through and look at some of these programs. Okay, amazing. Go check out any other video. There's probably some stuff links down below if you want to go check out the podcast. Obviously, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're here. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you again next week.